Adishima me adam asese munya abretwan ya febra so se yedi enkomonene yenkomodi ni befa MPP ama yekunu central fo nhemu ne de wo mo eyeye na Justin Kudio twetwefo panima party na kasa odwumedi nase ne nsama wo kan nyina ne se aban baye na namahodo otu ne ye bidi adanse trodo se woka atemuafo dwumedi omudie no ehye na sadia mame nkane chief justice Getru Tokono okon afa so na womu eyi ni free ho no ama judgefo nyina yam hyehye wo mo obi asuro se wanhwe ye pe ibeyi no nti akoba saa ebema atentrene ebeye den papa de american se wokobu aten na saten wa mu ani yie na se pe na wo ye mahye nti nipa ne difo di bi mu na wa ye de esa wo ye na aban na ni age na sanse mo kan de bidum che se we free hin na we kokoba mu na sate mo afọ na kasa no sebe omunim emra omunim oni adwene a obetumi de ebu aten wabro mu so nipa no edifo anase odibim eno ana na eno ho kom ne nanadwe ye bedi ne ahwe nsama hodo asisi ansana sa friends of nhemu ye ne dey wo mo eye ene Prince Sifa Fusu enkane no ye CEO Edma Gifek wono ana BBC MPP amayoko no anemu ana finana kojo abam wono nso Edis communication team no ka ho wono na BBC wo mo nanto mienu ena na nadwe no bedi nko madam asemo no momre ya mamo akwaba enso mejo so
chete ahwefo
nyina jemuso pa
chia urian ma onyo mbo adwuma wa haso
sure ye da si be pray ansana ye be hye nkomo twetwe na se no owura kandapa enkane na oye minister for national security one atemuafo ehyiae na dwumadi na se no okansam ahodo bi yebetie na fe yetie de mampani ma so kan bra na wo opposition no yewia ye de enkomo ntimo nti owura kandapa yewia yetie mampani Mahama.
Justice delivery system or delayed justice or biased justice is certainly a threat to national security. And indeed, when injustice abounds, particularly in situations where the bench, which is considered as the final arbiter of disputes, is deemed to be biased, citizens tend to take the law into their own hands, most times without recourse to the established systems of justice delivery. And similarly, the failure of the criminal justice system to ensure effective and expeditious trial of criminals adversely impact the morale of law enforcement agencies. It also emboldens criminals to perpetrate more crime and breeds lawlessness among the citizenry, developments which threaten the internal security of the state. If you are going to be able to address the security challenges that we have, especially the domestic ones, we need to be able to ensure that there is a judicial system that works. If we do not have a system, a judicial system that works, many people will simply take the laws into their own hands and misbehave and do what they want. Therefore, in trying to manage the security situation, it is important for us that we do get a judicial system that works. And we are all lucky that in the sub-region, we are perceived as a country where the judicial system works and where you could expect justice. If the interpretation of the law is tilted so much in our favor all the time, people will start accusing the judiciary and will not have the confidence that they need.
Recently, so badly has the image of our judiciary deteriorated that many of our citizenry openly make mockery of our justice system and of our justices. The phrase, go to court, is these days met with derisive laughter instead of hope that one will truly get justice if he went to the courts. If people are not poking fun about politics and inducements being used to sway the hand of justice in the lower courts, then it is poking fun and making statements about the 7-0 of the unanimous FC. One of the scariest existential threats to any democracy is when citizens think their judiciary holds no value for them or no use to them. And this is the security threat that the national security apparatus tried to draw the attention of the nation to recently, but was poorly received by the president and his party. It is scary because it threatens the peace and stability of our democracy, and we must quickly correct this fast-spreading notion. If care is not taken, we'll get to a stage where people will have no qualms about taking the law into their own hands, because they do not have the confidence that they can get any justice from the system. There is therefore the urgent need for the Ghanaian judiciary
we are mampani Mahama Brana ye opposition leader and our cancer semu na obo unanimous 7-0 no we so ho na tia wamu no na se atemu no satemu ahye no se satemu dwumaku na kobase bi amafo ni gidi wo mu ye ade ha adwene na se kobase bi mu afo ni adwene se atemu afo no e ma tentri ni adwuma aya na ebetumi ama omen ye babo ho sam no atochima kakra enti wo mo boso na so abandada no na se sabre no aban no enti nsem o mo kan ye no enti so mo hwe no mo ye hu bibi owura kana pa so de o kan ye no ne tofa bomu no e kire se esisi etumi nya atemu a fo a na se atemu dwumaku a ye hu ne system that works atemu dwumaku a eye adwuma that works na ekobase ebi atemu no eko abana fa sabre no biribiri na se kobase eteto towards the government bibria eya na ha adwene na bema a threat to national security. Inti payfo mienu nyina there was one fundamental statement mu ye ya say a threat to national security. Ura kadapa kai mampeni mama nso kan say a threat to national security. Inti ye behwe na ye gina no so ade nkomo no sefa ena mo na mu ye nsatrofo nhie mu no mo kan sama do bebre ma mo kan fa chief justice na me tokono a ya hwe na sensen ne ho sensem kire say dia mampeni na sabana ye no ya de a e kante mu afo hye e mo mutumi nkasa entumi nya dwuma sese wo mutumi eye munyina so pa ewe ho ene de we
o se nyina so ne de eno ba ko sene ye chia ya hwefo no san chia omo bio nyina so ne de
am 5 minutes wa misro
okay nyina so no ye da ho pefe mo bia timi ho sene o kan wa hwe ho chief justice and yes fa yi no Ghana for you know obia ntiase obia nim almost Ghana for even NDC for credit him see you know because NDC a meaning no so be in afro enye asembia potimbia emodro nti to me a wrongful dismissal and I think Ghana for be break too but omofa ne say e ade a NDC for ebitumi aye and womo katre so ombeye and womaye that's all. Now yes idea we are now it be chief justice over travel I warm policy mo since 2010 so ne onwa ne lawyer the buy former attorney general yina ye hu ye or the buy the says our policy wo free that 2010 that just chief justice use ne yetimi ayi na free hwa edien and a government intimi and you know I mean I think say very clear wo hwe ne ekoso sese ne ehunahuna wo mu ni ade a chese ehu wo mu pa etinya
ehunahuna asin
oh ebi wo jail ayi bail a friend is a condition de be ma okra no chese nya asem ketwa so ayi anan de am say 800 million I mean, nipa and a vinya sabe they say wouldn't to me a manager. Say a friend saying I do said then what's it or no or she sending a near Marcona or no so or family. I was so cooperative. And no so yeah. So I was so cooperative to know one no tin and no somewhat. Enti ehunu de all over the Attorney General it me ba your friend is saying it me ba media mu e ba be di wasem e point by point near waye I can't be who be that me te say na ye nuanom bi ka say wo sa na omutimi ye no America no money ade how me North America half of my life never been see or do be o ka say bi oboa ye no kre e nada because e hono ne a wobetimi ehu ne say bia police for mpani for ana prosecutor e be about so wa charge obi bi account ne ye e be ye edunum so hu no amount high level say so e bia ya charge no so akoje bribe ana wakoye say ni ade but never would you hear the level of detail Attorney General Obed trial niade. And they started this whole thing with oral. Almost one betimi collected 21 billion cedis. Eja 21 billion cedis. Unim say yes Ghana. Sorry, dollars. Me cedis cry say me one book me cedis. Dollars. 21 billion dollars. Unim say a budget. Yes spending in this year. AM says $10 billion. So far, your budget is almost spending about 135 billion cedis. What the year your friend is saying mathematics yes says 10 billion. And you know MPP and Crawford yes so much me sika on bet me collected $21 billion. It reach after the so near man oral document in bebre and conconsa. Any your friend is saying garbage bola omo no masemo committee members ni bi ye year free mo Attorney General say ne owo hwe ne ye be say 2 billion enti be say 10% of ne omo ka kire Ghana fo nyina o Ghana fo nyina nya say bia omo ka no kokwa mu ne ye hwehwem na yehu no kure wo ma ne ye de aba omo ka be announce ye the comma president e ye hu you say they will be collecting. It was even made international news.
And see, what can sound do me? Me person me be mo na questions be bra me be so about me so me no answer. What can be about? What can be far say want to me ne manager no say obeye no so obeba or what be the dance here. Usro asking what?
I also say or no so family. Enti no na o si jama say party for no e bi ntwa na o mani ntwa no the way ade ne ko no
so party for ntwa no a eno abate mu adwuma mu say say no try or because wo hwe ne kasa mu a so hu say ne asem no iko no e wo say o hwe no age ne ho nkwa enti ne under duress from
because the case I dey aba no ne say ne o hwe say ne say judiciary no wo hwe say ne yes if former Chief Justice. And not only that, Papa ya would me bo be a 10. It me catch a Ghana for you know say Ampany Ampano ye war selective justice will chrome her judge. Even Omwa and this if we be by a baby blasting Papa say and you're right. Me te say your friend is saying so occupy Ghana for you near the omuna about no this is not right.
Occupy Ghana for me.
Your friend is saying there's me referee didn't say or no or demonstration a fat police for a car keys near they came out they said it's not right. Even Attorney General had to step in, the current Attorney General, because judge a judgment or the mind Ghana for now on a borne.
Okay.
Unim says a judge you de never back.
Okay.
Or buy or so I retire. Almost Sanko Fanaba.
Okay.
Edene Court of Appeals. It is a judge be a Ghana for case judge way enko ye. no one ma ruling ama Ghana for nyina ho adwurom ama even NDC for kra ho adwurom President Mahama Sade na baba ama no promotion court of appeals
me that's me samba so questions bi wa me bisa wonti
no problem
yi kwadwo wotie ne nsem o ka no a na ka me se eyobo apayo mo hyeda na mo ye nneema hodo a ebema atemuafo no asuro se omode no kore ebe ye adwuma mo di hu bi ewura justice atemuafo no mu ewo Ghana ha sa na mo ye no Mamosima Asia ono manisima nso ntimo mansia
eja medase na edikano minchia Ghana mampeni ebi ebo enimre ebi amchia no na make say you see nobody is above the laws of Ghana obi eni wo so chimra obi a shemra se na ye ba no promise reset ni say obi bia nam no so a aben ahwe sika anasa wabo ma no kon no even make sure say Ghana mra ni ne bedi so every step I take in all the issues bia no the basic foundation and the bedrock the rule of law bia ye bia nam mra kwa so from investigations to the courts as we speak in the specific case of Madam Getru Tokunu Article 146. Nobody has been able to point out to say President Mahama Bumra we so and now Obulo we so. To date, nobody has been able to do like that. Obi an ordinance in the Baka say President Mahama Bonisi in 1 year and as a mercy in 1 year. Naja, we beside a very important question. Since some year Mujina Secretary Kenyina, not the Otia King, and what dance way evidence. When you want, I say a dance and they are pinpoint it. Children start dancing me. You see, philosophy by your friend J.S. Mill. I say one cannot make an authoritative statement without evidence. I say when to me cancer no institute I bet when you are dancing. We yes, I win some night. Can I say a friend say a bosemka? Yes, say any be and then there. The senior man, any homogeneous secretary, on my yacht Ghana for it. And some Kenya, a baseless allegation are up to date. Omun to me anything of evidential value to substantiate the claims of why they on my making.
Almost some more can be and say Okwanya mo faso enokra esifa kan sisi ase Okwanya ban faso edi former chief justice free ho no ninyina so bia na hye wo ho mra wo ho a ada chief justice no dia ye adwuma sa mra na mojina so ede eyi mame no mame toko no esi nchen no sa mra kro na justice ahodo bia mo so chief justice ahodo bia mo abedi domain so da na se o mabe ye chief justice da no ade sa mra kro na adwuma enso ade say wode won man anyi wo mo na mame we nkwan ye de mo yi na se mabo mutrim da sa mo ba ye dan a mo be yi sa mo
ekwan ba ne fast you know ekwan a petitioners the bar no or they came to Article 146 and that is the procedure. Na travel policy no yembisa wo so obi da ye adwuma pai omo de ye adwuma yembisa wo so omo brechi ya na omo busu ana. That should be the question. So omo busu no yen you more then you can what have basis for the arguments no making. You make serious allegations say one of the allegations na ye misapplication of government what funds say would the wukunu any wo ba etukwan say bi omo nya adwuma ma aban omunye judicial staff na what the abensi ketuom per diem now we see winning the agency you know we do committee report now say the year no a wanton dissipation of public funds a abensi ka charity say in the ndenum di na di almost say on the say wa misapply funds almost say wa tonyo mebia ma adwumako no na wa mfa kwan paso antonyo ma no procurement breaches. And look at go. But my media dear, we tibia bensika or the amaniku and in the back. That is the issue we are discussing here. Until we do committee report now, she was found guilty on this particular claim. Na yedi kwadu ni board no. Instead say obi gina committee proceedings na wa fight no. O tibia assembly from the committee no be gina CPS not to ayampia. Echa Ghana for. Na ka said no. Use the energy of the press conference to fight your case in the court. Nti so almost say kwan first yi na dia e kwan ben. Article 146 clearly stated. Nti meaning procedure me eti ha. Me challenge no say on pinpoint Mra President Mahama Buso in removing her. Make me jam black man. So on pinpoint this here. If you be able to pinpoint, so make me actually say Article 146 President Mahama Fenya Juma and also Mra we so I'll stop talking.
Okay. Ma memra ayi so na Sefa. What's ye
that Mr. 6 minutes ni so yo.
So wo ho.
Aka be two.
Aka one. O de ma me for one ma na and answer o de later me be ma.
Oh, ngam person me conclude. This eja make allegations about selective justice. Must be new mom for radio. You go krom ha. Na NDC papa ba ko a oyare. Your friend Dr. Sylvester Newman, no a second defendant, they were 240 case anymore. Papa no a chief director for Ministry of Health. Tama go for your board, go for damning any MP for the Kenya court no. Serve your papa na any one day. And I shouldn't system. Now when your kidney problem what a reach him. Also on every single day, MP for the Kenya court. Only cow or about foot trot. Court. At one point, the crowd, court, you know, bisa na asem no when make any sentence very coherent. So the judge had to suspend proceedings that day. This is the kind of wickedness a course. And then we back something about selective justice. There's nothing like selective justice. Why you born one day? President Mahama has a duty. He has sworn. The Constitution of Ghana said, "We are born it's your man mra." That's all man very new day.
Sefa, what's here ura kanda pasa mo kan no was say as say ye hu atemu adwuma eye adwuma wo hu anasa atemu afuku a eye adwuma or say judicial system that works na ekoba say e bia ruling na hodo no tilt to the government then government no mo abemu no. And I say if you find government in Biblia, a better journey, a threat to national security. Meaning, say, when who be a war rulings are there burning in Emu, it's not penny no Ekasa. And so you say, sir, I drink for 4 effort to more for Hono, and yet a ban winner at the buyer, even when you were in government, you know, your own interior, the national security minister, it will be being a no cry, Ekasa the found.
Jana mi tie video no o shase. A video no and sitting well with me at all. Both near Senia Honorable Kandapa was presented. It was a short video, so minim contest ni na. Matisa semia over time. But minim context what they cancer. And a man tends to say the way a man for a twisting in my view. And so a judicial system, no, there's a problem with it. But near me agree. The public break and it's also okay. Ruling it I call for Kumbia. And no, it me security threat. So a security person and an worker. But the fact is, so say the judicial system. I mean, say there is a problem per se. With our judicial system.
We need a judicial system.
Also, we need
system that works.
Sure. And you know, I didn't take that to mean so see a judicial system. No, okay. But having said that, it was so interesting. Say, or no, I condemn or no, a president today because he made mention. Say, who can be who can? I was so the evidence here then account. Also, President Mahama, a statement, no, can unanimous FC near, you know, omuma evidence.
Yes.
And then, General Secretary, MPP, Emma, the press a release, the press statement today, omuma evidence. When he talked about Article 14, he talked about how our bail sentences don't have to be reasonable and so on. And it was not reasonable, the amount. Yeah, there was a lot of evidence. But you remember, I mean, so, time President Mahama say unanimous FC now omo de to yen judiciary de gu omo ni ase. What was their evidence? A dear potting omo gina so omo de kan ye say ye omo ruli normal ruli etia omo. Do you have one? Eja wati bako efre omo no. Wako court. Now wow general or chairman ain't me as woman ni any pink sheet evidence. Now wow appointed NDC appointed judges a rule tiao.
Appointed judges in one.
At that time, I remember said there were Kaidino, but I remember said there were about 2 of them. And ruling they were appointed during the NDC government. Ruling the same way. Say unanimous FC. That's how the unanimous FC.
Say Abembia ba na say ye appoint judge be appointing any administration no. Obetel towards that administration
I did not say that.
There be maybe
but ni American say ye nyina ye ni mo say judge president appointing no. E kire say o trust e woni mu. President be any ho no more be appointed judge on trust him.
So if the person is qualified and your qualification e be gina so your merit e be gina so dey actually depend na trust na
when I say
trust as what
aja will pass me west kakran pacho me say trust obi kasi obi trust you obi a you can trust somebody for so many reasons but the fact is says what mame akwanya se me appoint you obi a wo force me appoint you obi a me wo gidie woni mu se obetimi aye adwuma na e wo so wo ye no. Of course, me nominate you be a me believe so obetimi aye adwuma no. That's what I mean by trust. Okay. And to what appointing so why uni power appointing meaning you trust in the person. I'm not saying so you're biased though. Me say you trust in the person's capacity to do the job. No really against it in a case. No turning around no what from unanimous FC. Eja enya maybe why ye jiji so okrom hanoma time. Because time almost free will be unanimous FC, you know. I was saying, come to me, ma evidence in tia, omo de yeden, omo di jinaso. You didn't give any evidence.
Eti ora kana pass mo kan say rulings how do be ba na say a court aban then government in favor. Na say etilted towards aban no a. No or how eti hono na oni nyina so bia no de be kansa
ejai me paucho alright kenda panso no obviously or a minister you're respecting a year at least MPP mu even across where the minister ache so ti ase me ntimi ma metra ha no mu entimi ready na adwen enti a oka sa asem no and wanka at least your friend say clip now will show you know and show say or say a case way and a case way there was no reference bia na metimi agina so ayeden e de aka or no man adwen say koye say ya say netie. One other thing that I will put on the table and say
30 seconds na me ko ayiso
Attorney General we by cases in kwa what dismiss 10 nolly at least 10 cases nolly prosecute mebwa it is a ruling against all of them and kaya den and kasa cases no mu I mean you see
mental hana say what's a kamu ruling against them
we are talking about the fact to say as a ruling no ko one side unanimous FC and amebwa enye no na ye de sha ase and ye kase say rulings no ko against one side it me ede ensemoba meboa and I make say even government way by you know now there were active cases omun ruling meboa it is say unanimous FC na case bia bia no mo dieti omo then there were so many cases as you see
no ruling
in the case of a friend saying honorable Atufose there was a ruling that had gone in his favor before government way back clear cases in Ghana lose 7 to 10 billion cedis on those knowledge prosecutions
when to men provide any evidence we have to the court to convict them. wagina court ebi te say Dr. Puni case wagina court mfie wotwe wentumi amfa dance anko ama na mbɔ no na ya bana file no process ko say at force in case
ngade da mo so bon twa ma asam ne ni ma ne logical conclusion
eja mfie wotwe wodi agina asam ye bi say wa dance wentumi amfa dance amba dey bi na say yetwe mfie wotwe amfa evidence bi amba. And the name of the game or court near evidence. And that's how the better one judge in Bejaso. And this is what someone couldn't new dance here. What do you expect the judge to do? And as I say, the current attorney general to do. But people and some no Kandapa. He Uber tape recorded, and this is not a new tape. I saw ya come on some. Or see, we need a judicial system that works. Now, if you not say the decision should not be seen to be biased. And I said there should not be what delayed decisions or hurried what decisions. You could decision delayed decision have been saying. You remember near Pam Mr. Daniel Dumlevo or the Assembly Court for over 2 years. Supreme Court is kwani. Time determine Assembly of retirement. And that delayed case now. Papa ne kan wasam no kan de pa kan wasam no ebium LGBT case e baaye parliament ayamra ye de mbana kama president Gufado say onsani wase a citizen of Ghana has gone to court into a transit Supreme Court for be determine asem no be seen there the Supreme Court be determine asem menim but at the same time the Supreme Court went to mandate to sit on that case no afinye marking minority did that now speaker asem no baaye no or court Friday 12 p.m. Evia. When you file case in 12 p.m. Evia 12 p.m. Chief Justice 8 million panel judges 5 1 o'clock na judgment aba. Omo tena so 1 o'clock judgment aba. Omo bua speaker kun for. This is what we are talking about. So when the way Supreme Court
omo bua no for na say
omo bua no for. We say the Supreme Court registry ni ye adwuma on typical Friday ko one hwa ungoto mo na one day ni betumi gina ho
say na bia na
so this is so the open bias eni na kan the back come atem say yes sir judicial system no confirm say enye adwuma and say enye adwuma because now you too predictive ukokot betumi ka say we am kokot by 50 7090 and am kokot exactly that then that decision what will happen. And that is what he was bemoaning the MPP said. I say actually he was and I said the confidence in the judicial system will be eroded.
And so what did he say MPP for so a press conference na wo mo hu niam ahodo bia won betumi aka the so or can be from the beginning cra say wo share bail conditions kra no a wo share obi ye man 800 million Ghana cedis bail condition. Now, 800 million. Pardon, do say the binya.
Or say reasonable. Who determines reasonability? Said you are not here, Nami, and Ajawo. It is the courts that determines determine reasonability of cases. The bail conditions, no, you fair makake. Before I had the bail, mamano, and I say I had the conditions, mamano. It is dependent on the gravity of the issue. If you are something in a kakakati, and I say the money involved, and that's the something before some man bail no. And yes, say, what the two wa say, I can be a kumimpa. Now, Ebia will be a some small, Ebia offense we are. These two cases, no, we don't expect the bail conditions to be the same. Because they were kumimpa no, Nedia and I say, I'm disacquainted now, no, maybe the bay heavier than said the almost why they were offense we. And so, but the can say, bail conditions no and yet reasonable. Who determines reasonability? Is it determined as alarm down MPP headquarters?
Almost can say me say more intimidating central for press intimidations.
Eh. I want info. Yeah, waha. Ne press freedom. In the last 8 years, you fully consistently under President Akufo-Addo. Erasta says I don't call. Those days were reporting on Galamsey. I'm threatening. Some journalists say Manase Azuri, what are you talking about? Journalists ben now I can't say ma ya threatening. On him ba bene our power. or can some for former first lady who almost in prison cells for almost 2 weeks. They have the temerity, they have the moral turpitude to talk about what press freedom and I say intimidating journalists. Only point to some of them say what are some allegations evidence behind it. I yes ye dey adwuma on any quarters.
Me da say mama ko ayi so na yen fa 2 minutes bi na yen sori so. Fosu.
Yeah.
Obi ba ka say mo so mo central phone shemu na mo ye no. Se mo ka say ade a omo etietia omo de ehu ewura atemuafo no mu a na obutietia central for fan hu de so a ense da eni mumma nyina so mra esan se anya hwekate muafo na ya adwuma na che omunim de so mo ye nti wetu aka say because of say ye chief justice dada no free wonti no ade a atemuafo ni nyina hu bebo mu say omunipa say jakwabra na ewie enso enum ye enso esan se ebia bibi nti no na ya ka say nyon no fa ye na emo no me cameraman Kevin Efaye anase wanom nsuo no nsuo ni we say atemuafo be ye so say ombe ma rule bia keke sa keke because of ehu amomo say omde ro munti 2 minutes
aja
yes sir
nanado emreso ehu say yenuanom ya omo hadwen bebrebe omo propaganda specialist omo kan sem bebre do baby omo say your friend is saying there was a culture of silence. Apaya or culture of silence in so no PNDC mreso no or one of the your friend is saying business magnates or no moye jumapa that time you know antis work be I grew up in those days and so no nanadom ready or say there's a culture of silence time I can say culture of silence no koka a Rotary Club Oye Kodifie Boko Obia Nyanehwe and so was a culture of silence. Just Obia say just partisan activities na omo yena. Since then Obibia show say nokre because what near happened as at 3 months ago na journalists inquire attack omo during this government 14. Minim number no me shows by now are increasing. Some of them physical attack. It be happening or Ablekuma North. I was there. Physical assault. And now we say soldier for ena ya attack you omo. Yina ye hu ne happen here. Ewo your friend is saying ewo Collins Dauda mo asutifi honom. So say soldier for say police for ena e was so mo accosted a soldier for e ko mi hu bi da. All this happening under this government. President Intimiama out. Ama me kakra say as commander-in-chief. Ame condemn this against his forces. He himself as commander. And he just say it's very clear. As for Ihunidia, and it's not just that too. Even in the public service, 50,000 a day. So far since and these are not
qualify say or ye juma no
me count
out wa ye juma o
you woman
and ye yi na di based on what
me was me yimi sika botumbu a omoma
based on what
omo court I had to help some people aja me ba
50,000 people
me na me catch
and ye omadi obro nipa na ye na juma all right if so bia
ni no say aja
ye ba ye yi na di and then omugina so di ye omadi
mpacho me say wo court me cry my boy be a mama file or case. So I mean the things that are happening, bad things so public service are. They where your PNDC too, where your culture of silence are, your career ne akode ifie boko, your can Rotary Club. Where your proper one within the court, within the public service, soldier for a premature retirement. About 21 of them we are aware. Military, the top generals in all the top star generals in under this government. A bad then also more winslow or public service more winslow because you can be sacked without a minuya bako me woko for the yinedi ye fa no 2017 ye yinedi
president
or ye MPP ni
Sana na
seems that's the fear.
A fear you susu sell MPP ni.
So what you say? Court as we speak. Enti nyentro ene ye do. All these things ni nyina won so enti hu ne de. This and I mention say this is PNDC2 government. It's very clear.
Me da say ye bre na so an say enti 1 minute ni sorry. I didn't say na mo yi nipa 50,000 edi. Wo bre mo yi adwuma na mo
bi say na dance here or do provide dance here no. When can provide it. Enti na say ye di say we say mbongu. What can some so that dance and to any interrogate. Now, you see, President Mahama share accountability side no. At the same time, share the economic aspect. And then you're gonna for baby. And now, me can say, and the DIT. Oh, minya. And the DIT. And the DIT. When we say inflation about 8%,
baby, or dear Drew.
Almost could do 54% 2022.
Look at that.
Almost 23%.
Look at that.
Now, 4 gallon oil, equal 12 million. Old Ghana cedis, 1,200. And then you can say 600 Ghana cedis. See the Dr. Baumia, almost say Ghana high economics in the unity. Of a ceding from 3.5 or could be 17 cedis, no fish. And then a little over 10 Ghana cedis. Policy rates, not over 30%. I buy policy
because any no
policy rates say 21%. When we say policy rate has a direct relationship with what lending rate. So Ghana ni
policy rate ni ye.
Masa, what can send? Yeah, this is evidence. What the evidence by? What where is the evidence? You couldn't provide it. So let me make the analysis. Right there, na evidence. And the 1.4 million. Hey, President Mahama Bayi, your mom 2.7 billion.
That is a lie. That is a lie. NHI,
one of the biggest interventions.
1.4 billion cedis in reserves. Why you
one of the biggest interventions President Mahama said you any form of disability.
NHI.
How
can you say that? No, you have to call it out.
Education. Oh, I calculate for education.
NHI 1.4 billion cedis.
You see. What was a much or more?
No, but how can you lie like that?
Allow me to
you are lying to Ghanaians. Everybody can say this.
PWDs. Omadi demand as you be. Let me ask. I'm going to put on free. That is what the people. Yes, that's what the people are looking for.
Yeah, but that's your brain. Yeah, 10 minutes to cry the account.
Yo, there's no budget. In your Eric J. or support over 10,000 business. That is what the people are looking for.
And travel.
And it has now had to come 1.1 million.
You are my MPP. And I feel na kojo abam. Ono so eba ma NDC amashokuno.
You have no idea what you are talking about.
Ghana they say na dia asasa ne na musa enti ye de besi ya midin de jakwabna Erade adoma ochina ye be hia kra mu nyina ma mu nyina adwo ama mu ene hwe